Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live. Today is Friday, February 28th, 2020. We are again in the final day of the trading week and the final hour of the trading day. As I mention each day, in my opinion, the most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions are the prices as close as you can get them to the close of the market during the day. You have the day traders, the algorithms, they're controlling the price movement. At the end of the day, it switches and it transfers to the large financial institutions. They are dealing with the most money, best information, best technology, and then they come in and take the price control away from the day traders and the algorithms, and in my opinion, move them to what the most valid prices of the day are. And that is why I like to follow on their coattails and make my buying and selling decisions based upon what they are doing at the end of the day. Okay, well, what a week we've had. I mean, historic week, actually. Not even exaggerating. Historic week with the amount of points we've gone down, how fast we've come down in such a few amount of days. It's pretty incredible. Honestly, it is pretty incredible. Currently, we are down 708 points on the Dow, down 2.78%. We are down 141 points on the NASDAQ, down 1.65%, and down 68 points, 2.3% on the S&P. Actually, earlier today, we opened up very low and we rallied, and the NASDAQ actually went positive intraday, but it could not hold it. So it should be very interesting to see what happens at the close, how investors are going to react to the market going into the weekend. About a half hour ago, the Federal Reserve came out and basically said, they're aware of the coronavirus and they will be, acting accordingly, which kind of reading between the lines means that if it looks to get bad, they would basically cut rates. And I think the market's already anticipating that. I believe that the bond market is already anticipating three cuts coming in the future. So that's that. Boy, it's been entertaining at the very least. I'll tell you what. Evan, good to see you. Appreciate you coming, my friend. Zach is here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Hope that email helped. Deanne Christensen, hello. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. Hope you and the dogs are well. Kamal, hey, how's it going, Kamal? Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming. Christopher is here from England. Thank you, Christopher. Always nice to see you. Hope you're having a nice evening there. Joe Turner, hey, buddy, what's going on? Hope you're having a nice day. Glenn is here. Hi, Glenn. Good to see you. Joe has a poem for us. We drank our hot coffee right out of the cup and we rode the roller coaster on its way up. Well, it's on its way down with utmost perfection. Just hold on, folks, and wait for the correction. Well, there you go. Another classic by Joe. Fantastic poem. Very relevant to what's going on. You and Frank are the best. I mean, really. I don't know. However, I don't know how many other trading podcasts have poems every day, right? So I have nothing to do with it. That's Joe and Frank, but I certainly appreciate it, and I hope everyone else appreciates that. I've been posting your poems, Joe. Thank you. Jackson, good morning, sir. Hope you're having a good morning. Sats, hey all. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Sats. Gamer is here. Good to see you, Dave. Dan, hey all. I don't think I will do SPY trade after extreme movements. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I mean, this has been historic. Glenn says Amazon bouncing around 200 day. Yes, that is on my list today, Glenn. We are definitely going to take a look at that. Miko 25, hello. Good to see you. Good afternoon. Always nice to have you here. Hello, Mount Doji. Good to see you, my friend. Always good to have Mount Doji here. And Marco, hey, good evening, Marco. Hope you're having a nice evening there. Jesse is here. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. That's our good friend Jesse up in Minnesota. Appreciate you being here, Jess. Hope you're doing well. Hope the family's doing well. Work, job, all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, listen, we've got a lot to do today. A lot of stuff to go through. These movements have been crazy. We had a rally 40 minutes ago and just gave it all back. So there are a couple of interesting setups here, depending on the close. So here's the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my positions, when I got in them, why I got in them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. Luckily today it was only the SPY trade, so I feel grateful for that. After that, we're going to take a look at a couple other stocks. We don't have too many people. I think we only have 2 positions, but we'll also look at those. After that, I'm going to do a few minutes on trader psychology. I did a podcast this morning with Stephen Burns and Christopher Uhl, and I'll share that. When that podcast come out, and that's on 10-Minute Stock Trader on on YouTube. But we had a great podcast. We talked about risk management. We talked about price action trading. Steve added a little bit. Chris added a little bit. I added a little bit, and it was a good day to do that podcast. But we also talked about trader psychology, how important it is. It is so important, and I think people, now that we've had this happen, I think people quite understand that. The market has gone up so much, so easy. I think people forgot about risk, forgot about correlation, forgot about following their rules, and this has been a wake-up call. I mean, a lot of people have been trading, probably have never even been through this before, so it's got to be a shock. So anyway, we are going to talk about trader psychology because, like I said in the podcast, it is the most important skill you can learn in trading. Absolutely 100%. You have to follow your rules. You have to be consistent. Follow your process. Get in when you're supposed to, even when you don't want to. Get out when you are supposed to, even when you don't want to. So yeah, trading is all encompassing. It is all encompassing. It's not just hitting a button. Boy, it's so much more than that. So we're going to talk about that. Then, as I mentioned, I went through my list of stocks already. When I look to enter a stock, I look for 3 requirements. Requirement number 1 is I look for a combination or a confluence of indicators, or in other words, the way I look at it, other groups of buyers lining up. I look at an indicator as a group of buyers. An RSI indicator might be a group of buyers. A moving average might be a group of buyers. But if I can have them come together at the same time, same price, same time frame, I look at that as 2 groups of buyers coming together at the same time. And if you want a stock to go up, you're going to put yourself in a much better position to have a profitable trade if you're in the company with as many other buyers as possible. So that's why I look for a confluence or a combination of indicators. Step number 2, even if you have a good confluence of indicators, you have to have a good risk to reward ratio. It's very important. You have to be able to make more on the upside than you do to the downside. I prefer minimum 2 to 1, so I want to make at least 2 times what I'm risking to the downside based upon some valid resistance above me compared to the support below me. And then number 3, correlation is very important. You don't want to be loaded up on tech stocks and have nothing else. You don't want to be loaded up on tobacco stocks and have nothing else. You want to be diversified. And, there's quite a few potential entries for me here today. But based upon correlation, I can't take them all, right? So gonna have to look at the best of the best and keep correlation in mind. So then at the end of the day, if there is something good that meets all my criteria, I will go ahead and enter it at the end of the day. If you remember yesterday, the market just puked in the last hour of the day, and there were a lot of potential setups yesterday, also some really great ones. But at the end of the day, they all lost their support. All those levels underneath lost their support. So which was good, right? It kept me out of any trades because I was following my plan. So we're just going to have to take it all in at the end of the day. If you have any stocks that you would like me to take a look at, feel free to put them in the chat. And I'll do those after the close, unless you find that there's something that might be very helpful for the group. And if there is, please just go ahead, put it in the live stream, but make sure you put a star by it so that I know it's time sensitive, and I can give those priority, because this hour goes flying by. So that's the plan for today, and should be really interesting to see what how the market participants are going to deal with this close going into the weekend. Of course, there's always a lot of headline risk on the weekend. People don't like to hold over the weekend anyways. So anyway, interesting time, interesting day. And so please hold tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I will be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Oakley dokley. Oakley dokley. Here we go. Well, listen, fortunately, I only had one overnight, only one trade on today, which was a loser, but actually feels like a winner, honestly. It's my overnight SPY trade. I do take this every single day at the close of the market. I've explained this every day, but in case we have some new viewers, I do want to explain quickly. I do buy the S&P 500 tracking ETF SPY. I buy it each day at the close, hold it overnight, and I sell it first thing in the morning. It has nothing to do with support or resistance levels. It has everything to do with just statistics and back testing. This is from Lizanne Saunders at Bespoke Invest. Lizanne Saunders, the Chief Investment Officer at Charles Schwab. In this test they did since 1993, they tested two approaches. Approach number one was buying at the open and selling at the close every day. So buying in the morning, selling in the afternoon. Buy the morning, sell the afternoon. If you would have used this approach every day since 1993, you'd have actually returned a negative 13.9% return for all of your troubles. However, if you did the opposite, which is what I do, and buy the SPY at the close each day, then hold overnight, sell first thing the next morning. If you did this each day, buy the close, sell the open every day since 1993, if you actually return a positive 634.2% return, this is actually up till January 19th, is higher than that now. So listen, past performance is no guarantee of future results. That is totally true. It goes for any trading approach. You never know. But if you do have an edge in your approach, you will see that edge play out over time. And you can see the edge of the holding overnight, selling in the morning has played out over time. There's ups and downs, right? No doubt about it. But the orange line, which is the buy in the morning and sell in the afternoon, you can see there is no edge here. There's a negative edge. So, you know, last year felt like this to me. This year feels like this to me, but you can see this is normal, right? So this is just something I do every day. Honestly, you know, if I start saying I'm going to take it one day and not take it the other day, now I'm just speaking for myself, no one else, then I feel like I kind of destroy the integrity of the approach. So with this, I try to be as mechanical as possible. So I will buy it today, I will hold it over the weekend, and I will sell it first thing tomorrow. So that being said, I did buy it. I did buy it yesterday here at 297.51. I sold it this morning 288.62. So pretty big beat up, but again, luckily it's only 10% of my position, and I feel fortunate, seriously fortunate, that this is all I have, just 10% of my position size, and I lost a small amount. So right, we have to look for positive things when we get them, especially on a day like today. Is a little higher than when I sold it, so it has recovered since the opening, but yeah, this is it today. No day trades for me either. So again, buy at the close here today, sell first thing Monday morning, rinse and repeat, and just continue to do this. I've done this just a little over a year now. It has been quite profitable, but in a pretty substantial drawdown, no doubt about it, but it is a normal part. Let's take a look. I know Merritt has been in Nokia. He bought it here at I think about 395. Mert has a little bit longer term horizon, so he's been up and down and up, and now he's slightly down on this, but you know, everything's down. Everything's down with this market. So if Mert's out there and you have any changes, please let me know. And then Twitter, Deanne did buy Twitter here at 35.83. I know her trade plan on this was to hold this unless it closed under the 30 RSI. So, you know, unfortunately, so many stocks have gone down this week. There's really been no safe haven, not very many safe havens whatsoever. So anyway, sorry to see that go down for you, Deanne. On the bright side, we did reject the negative third ATR channel, rally back up a little bit, which is positive, which is more positive than not, right? So that's it. Let me take a look here. Franco says, hello, Greg and all. Okay, here we go. Sometimes the rhymes of a poem are the last thing you want to hear, with markets so low and filled with fear. As those around you slap on a mask, know in your heart that this too shall pass. Very good. I'm going to take another crack at that because I always have a problem the first time around. Sometimes the rhymes of a poem are the last thing you want to hear, with markets so low and filled with fear. All those around you slap on a mask, know in your heart that this too shall pass. Bravo. Bravo, Frank. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to post that. Actually posted you and Joe's poems yesterday, just earlier this morning. So anyway, fantastic. Thank you, Frank, as always, and Joe for the energy and the time that you put into those. Scott Montgomery, good day, and Greg and all. Hello, Scott. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Jackson says, I'll be watching that podcast. Enjoy these podcasts. Oh, good. I think it was a pretty good podcast. I really do. Mainly because of Steve and maybe mainly because of Chris, but I did my best. So I'll definitely share that with everyone when that comes out. Steve said the market will stop going down in 50 minutes. That is good to know. Fantastic. Fantastic. We got a strong call on that from Steve. That's good. I've never heard that. Jackson said, following my rules, but it is funny. Last few days I've caught myself talking myself out of them. Aha, the devil and the angel on each shoulder, even while doing other tasks during the day, but I stick to my numbers. Better that than random volatile head. Yes. Yes. Well, thanks for being honest, Jackson. I'm honest too. I have had feelings bubble up here that I have not had back since, 2000s, maybe the last quarter of 2018, where I was like, this is ridiculous. This is just dumb, right? I should step in and buy. And then if that's the devil side, the other side says, Greg, come on now. You know better than that. You're better than that. You teach this every day, right? You have to set a good example, but I'll tell you what, I have to be honest, it has crossed my mind, but as is right now, it would have been a bad idea, right? I mean, I've had losing trades this week, no doubt about it, but for me, they were legitimate trades. I had a plan, they just didn't work out. But what I'm talking about is boom, taking a stab for no particular reason other than taking a stab. Right. So anyway, Bing He is here. Good to see you, my friend. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day in Singapore. Grant X. Hey, Grant. Good to see you. Whoa, we've got a poem from Grant as well. Okay, let me see what I can do with this one. The market is crashing and panics abounding. The virus corona continues its pounding. Many are seeking to turn off the faucet, but haven't discovered Gregory Gossett. Ah, so good. So good, Grant. That is fantastic. I don't know. Are you on Twitter? Although I kind of hesitate to post that on Twitter because it has my name in it. Not that I care about my name, but it seems. Thank you. The market is crashing and panics abounding. The virus corona continues its pounding. Many are seeking to turn off the faucet, but haven't discovered Gregory Gossett. Oh my gosh, that's like the best ever. Steve says, that's great. Joe says, we didn't know it, but we have another poet. Do-do-do. There you go. Who knew poetry was contagious? Well, it seems like a lot of things are contagious now, unfortunately, right? Apparently. Christopher says, interesting article about the only stocks that have survived this onslaught of the downtrend this week. What article is that, Chris? Probably some of the medical device makers, masks, things like that. Steve says, Joe's poem got 200 likes on Twitter yesterday. Wow, fantastic. Joe, you don't have a Twitter channel yet, right? I know Frank does. You should follow Frank on Twitter also. Andrea, Steve Burns, you have a lot of followers. Yes, he does, and rightly so. Jackson says, I've got no trade again today. Rules keep me out. Okay. Well, listen, as I mentioned before, it's a very volatile market, and I mentioned on the podcast that I was on with Steve Burns and Chris that we talked about the importance of psychology today and following your trade plan. And so, every day I like to talk about trader psychology. There's some really great Twitter channels out there and Facebook channels out there. They post a lot of good words of wisdom that are helpful. They're free. All we have to do is read them. And here is Mark Minervini. Mark is very famous. It's at Mark Minervini on Twitter. He's a market wizard and author. So, when Mark says something, we should probably listen, but I thought this was applicable to today. Mark says, regardless of your methodology or approach to stock investing, there is only one way to protect your portfolio from a large loss, and that is to sell when you have a small loss before it snowballs into a huge one. In 3 decades of trading, I have not found a better way. Right? This is from Mark Minervini. He's a market wizard. He definitely knows what he's talking about. I'm going to read it one more time. Let's listen and hear. Regardless of your methodology or approach to stock investing, there is only one way to protect your portfolio from a large loss, and that is to sell when you have a small loss before it snowballs into a huge one. In 3 decades of trading, I have not found a better way. So let's break this down. Regardless of your methodology or approach to stock investing, look, there's all sorts of approaches, right? There's things we haven't even thought of. Some things work for some people. Some things jive better with other people. When Andrew and I, in our last lesson, we did some moving average crossover back testing. And I said, okay, Andrew, just give me a random moving average number, not like 200 or not like 250, get me like 683 or, 952. And we put them in ETF replay, checked them all out. It doesn't matter what moving average you put in there, totally random number, but it back tests well because those moving average crossovers get you out quickly. And if you have a winner, it lets you ride them. Right? So there's all sorts of different approaches. Of course, I talk about the 200, I talk about the 250, 30 RSIs, things like that. But, I believe what Mark is telling you here is there's all sorts of ways, valid ways to approach the market. But the only way to protect your portfolio from a large loss is that you sell when you have a small loss. So regardless of your approach, you just have to cut those losses quickly. And I'm sure a lot of you understand as soon as the larger your loss get, the harder it is to sell. You're like, you buy it at 100, then it goes to 90. Oh, I don't want to sell it at 90. I don't want to lock in that loss because I know it. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. You feel like as soon as you hit the sell button, it's going to go rallying up and it's going to be twice as painful, right? There's almost more pain associated with not being in the stock and watching it go up than there is with keeping the stock and taking the loss, right? I'm sure many of you can relate to this. I mean, I know I can. So, the easiest loss to take is your first loss is a small loss. Those ones are easy. You can just move on. But if you keep a large loss and it gets bigger, I mean, if you don't want to sell it at 90, how can you sell it at 80? And then how can you sell it at 70? Or how can you sell it at 60? Then it becomes impossible. Then it becomes a long-term trade. And you only wish that you would have sold it at 90, right? I mean, I can think back, I hate to even say it or admit it, but back in 2000, I think I had a $12,000 loss on something, and I didn't want to eat that $12,000 loss. Well, guess what? I don't even want to say how much that turned into. I mean, what I would have given to just have a $12,000 loss. So, first loss, very easy to get out of. It's no fun. I understand that, but I'm always talking about your main focus should be protecting your portfolio, not making money, but protecting it from, risk, right? And so what Mark says here, best way, just take the small loss before it snowballs into a huge one that you can't get out. Mark's been trading for 3 decades. I have not found a better way, and I 100% agree. So anyway, hope this was helpful. At Mark Minervini on Twitter. I would suggest that you subscribe there and read his posts. Every once in a while I look over what the market's doing. Like, this is insane. Christopher says, it's on Market Watch. Yes, all medical. Andrea, guy in my office was diagnosed with pneumonia today, having a mini panic here, trying to disinfect everything, and we don't even have a way to test for corona. Oh, boy. Yeah, I actually went to the pharmacy to buy some masks just in case. They were totally out here in Utah. Christopher says, REGN is an example. Down, pretty big bar down yesterday. Little rally back today. Not on a lot of volume, though. Grant says, yikes, Andrea, that's scary. Where's that, Andrea? That's in Massachusetts, Christopher. Grant X, I know I'm not normally paranoid, but Andrew says, I love Mark Minervini. Yeah, Newton, Mass. Frank, Mark Minervini says he was now 100% in cash, 100% in cash as of now. I think he shorted Tesla, Frank. At least I saw that up on his post, and it did go down hard. I don't know if he stayed in it. Dan, Andrew, you might consider a Neil Med nasal rinse. Easier than NetPot. Also, Greg Zycam nasal zinc. I will pray for you. Yeah, listen, I have no idea whether or not Zycam is helpful. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I have no idea, but I do know that it's helpful for the flu. So who knows? Who knows? Joe says, on the back of the Lysol spray, it says that it kills human coronavirus. Makes you wonder how long it's been around. Yeah, Scott says CTSO. CTSO. Well, big day there. Has anyone got an answer why children are not so infected with coronavirus? If Dr. Jorgensen's on there, he may have an answer. If I remember, I think he and I had that conversation, and something to do with the kid's immune system. Andrew says, a mask doesn't stop you from getting corona. It's only useful when you have an illness to prevent. Oh, I see. All right. Well, listen, let's go. go down and see what's happening. This is insane. We're down 900 points. We're down 900 points. So here's Dr. Jorgensen. Dr. Jorgensen was a pediatrician for over 30 years, so he knows what he's talking about. Dr. J says, children in general do not get as sick from viral illnesses as adults unless under 6 to 9 months, i.e. chickenpox in adults can be very serious, where in kids it's not so much. So I guess if they're very, very young, it's dangerous, but if they're over 6 or 9 months, it's not quite as harmful to them as it is us. Okay. Well, let's go through, take a look-see here. Apple at one point today was up $4. Now it's down $4, $4.80. Open this morning here around $257. Got as high as $278. Boy, a dollar here and a dollar there do not make a lot of difference for Apple right now, does it? Well, that's just volatility, right? There's just huge movement. So listen, I can't do anything with Apple here. If it had closed above the 100-day moving average, closed above the 30 RSI, I would be interested. But right here now, it's kind of in no man's land. On the bright side, we did bounce off the 6th ATR channel. Very hard to get prices below the -6 ATR channel and above the 6 ATR channel. It happens. It definitely does happen, but not with a lot of frequency. So I'm glad to see that there was some support right down there at the -6 ATR channel. Down $4.63 at the moment. So I really don't see anything happening here. You know, it ran right up into that 100-day moving average. That 100-day moving average definitely acted as resistance. So basically this is going to have to get above the 30 RSI, or it's going to have to get above the 100-day moving average for me to get interested. Let's take a quick look on the weekly just to give it some context. Here we are back in the value zone. You know, I don't like to buy up here. You know, it tends to go up and it tends to go up, but you know, that's why I prefer not to buy at these overextended levels, because when it does crack, it can crack hard. Obviously, didn't know the coronavirus was coming, but this isn't the first time that stocks have been above the value zone and come way back into value. It's just much better policy to wait. Well, you know, now we're at risk of even holding. But we did have a confluence, if you think about it. Look, we had a confluence on the weekly of the -1 ATR channel, and on the daily here, it looks like, yeah, we're right there on the daily. The daily here is the -1 ATR channel on the weekly. So on the weekly, it's showing a little bit of support here from the technical level on the weekly time frame, and on the daily, it did bounce off the -6 ATR channel. So, but not a clear cut definition right now for me to take a trade. Hey, Mohammed, good to see you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Always nice to have you. Bing, he says, Dr. Jorgensen, thanks, but it seems strange to me. Jackson says, I was under the impression that the risk of the coronavirus was in relation to weaker immune system, i.e. infants or the elderly or anyone with compromised immune system from pre-existing illness. I think that is definitely true from, I think, what Dr. Jorgensen and I talked about as far as elderly. On the kid thing, I'm not sure. I think what Dr. J said was under 6 to 9 months, it can be dangerous, but over that, maybe they have a little edge on us because of their immune system. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor. So Amazon. Well. I have Glenn here. So Glenn did enter here yesterday at 1898. Took a little, I think he just nibbled on it though. I think his stop on this, if I was correct, Glenn, is a close below the 200-day. So we have a little bit of a conflicting signal here. We did go under 30 and over 30. But at the same time, we went over the 200 and under the 200. So we have a little bit of conflicting signals here. We've rejected the 30 RSI to the downside, and we've rejected the 200-day to the upside. Look, if this closed above the 200-day today, I would be very interested in buying it, but I don't think I'm going to buy this unless it closes over the 200-day, especially with this volatility. Facebook, well, I think, let's see, did Facebook get over 30 at one point? Yeah, it did. But, you know, this is a good example. When we're above a 30 RSI, that 30 RSI, it's invisible, right? But we know it's there. That 30 RSI there acts as support. Well, now we're exactly opposite. We have the 30 RSI above us, and you can see we gapped way under the 30, got right up to the 30, and that was the glass ceiling. That is what acted as resistance above us. And you can see, right? I mean, this literally got, look at the little RSI number in the bottom right-hand corner, 3051. Is what I pegged it at, and that was it. Dr. Jorgensen says, has to do with the immune system working better in children. As we get older, our immune system does not work as well, i.e. over 70, usually much worse. Seems to start not working as well over 50. Oh, great. Thanks, Bruce. Andrew says, but a child can still transmit the coronavirus even if not symptomatic, right? Jackson says, infants, yes, but young children out of that risk from what I've read. Dr. Jorgensen says, everyone can be a carrier without symptoms. So anyway, nothing on Facebook here for me. Although, let's take a look at the weekly. Let's analyze. Oh, you know what? I didn't analyze the weekly on Amazon. Well, currently we have lost that 50-week moving average. I like to look at time. I like to look at stocks in different time frames, see if we can find support on different time frames, you know, larger ones, smaller ones. But this has lost the 50-week moving average. I would have much rather have seen it bounce off of that. So anyway, we'll have to see. Facebook. Okay, so Facebook rejected the 30 RSI above it. On the weekly, it has definitely lost the 50-week moving average. You know, think about this, and if I put this question out here, I'd say, okay, well, on the weekly, where would be the next good level of support? Well, probably here, right? If we were looking at things on the weekly chart, I would probably look at the 100-week moving average. But on the daily, where I have to take my entries from, looks like we've got very close. We rejected the 30 RSI, so I don't see anything on Facebook either. Well, IBB, so IBB did bounce at the 200-day moving average and did rally up, right? So it did go, it bounced, it went under 30, over 30, bounced to the 200-day. So does that mean I'm automatically going to take it? That's a tough one. It's a tough one. We rejected the negative third ATR channel above us. Let's look at the weekly. Well, see, this is more what I'm looking at. We did reject the 100-week and the 50-week moving average. Like Amazon, Facebook, they did not reject anything on the larger time frame. So, you know, this is better. This is better. Am I going to take it? I don't know. I mean, if it closed under the 30 and already told us today that it rejected the 30, I wouldn't like that. But we'll watch that. Coca-Cola, boy, you know, I marked these all earlier when they were all back above. So, you know, now we've rejected the 200-day. Still under the 30. We rejected the 250. I don't know if that's enough for me to want to take that. MasterCard, I would be interested in MasterCard if it closed back above the 200-day moving average. Earlier it was above the 200-day moving average and a V1. Did reject the 250-day here. Did reject the -6 ATR channel. You know, if you wanted to make an aggressive trade, I imagine that someone might use that or close below that as their stop. But you know, if it closes above the 200, I might consider it, but I don't know at this point. My favorite trade of the day at the moment is Microsoft. We went under 30, over 30. We went under the 100-day moving average, over the 100-day moving average. And we've got a V1 here, right? Here's day one, here's day two. Looks like day two is, well, it's within pennies of the previous close here. But if I just had a very structured V1, V2 looking return to value, something like that, I wouldn't take it in front of this large bar. But we're in a different situation here where we went under 30, over 30, under the 100, over the 100. Remember, confluence of a 30 RSI and a 100-day moving average is pretty good, really good. Let's look at the weekly. Well, look at this. I mean, we're still in the value zone. So the relative strength of Microsoft right now is really strong compared to the rest of the market. I mean, look, we're down 900 points on the Dow. Microsoft is only down 15 cents. So this by far right now is my best setup, favorite setup here. Philip Morris, boy, I'll tell you what, you know, took a pounding yesterday, took a pounding today. Looks like it has rejected the negative 30 RSI, at least intraday. It looks like it's holding above the negative third ATR channel. Still under the 200-day. The weekly here, we've lost the 200 week, we've lost the 50 week. We did bounce off the 100 week. Still down 3.85%. Most likely I'll let this go. I would reconsider it at the end of the day if we close above the 200-day as well. The 30 is all the way down here. Well, let's find out where it would be on Monday. Yeah, I was just kind of eyeballing it. Yeah, you know, that's right about there. That's still a pretty substantial stop. I mean, from a percentage standpoint, well, it's 2.29. I guess it's not that bad, but I certainly think we're going to have resistance up here. But then again, it doesn't matter what I think, but just being honest. But as is right here, the under 30, over 30, with the 250 and the 200 above me is not good enough. PayPal looks better earlier today. Now it is not so bueno. So yeah, I'm not even going to think about this unless it was closed above the 30 RSI. On the weekly, at least it is. See this confluence we have here. We did bounce off the negative 1 ATR channel on the weekly, and we have a lot of support here. There was a lot of consolidation and support, so I'm not surprised it stopped right there. But, you know, looking at the larger time frame, yeah, that's good, but still, you still have to have a trigger. Aha, so the Qs. We did bounce off the 200. I mean, that is good. It's good that we found support at the 200-day moving average. Let's look at the weekly here. Oh my gosh. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. About 18 or 19 weeks of profits was taken out in 1 week. Again, up by the stairs, down by the elevators. And I think this really should drive the point home of why I don't like to buy usually up above the value zone, because these kind of things concern me. And I do miss out on a lot of trades when I do, but you know, on the other hand, I'll miss out on a lot of down moves as well by following my rules. It gets frustrating. You know, I have some pretty tight rules, some pretty tight filters. So when I miss trades and they keep going up, I'm like, dang it, maybe I should. And they're like, no, just stick with your plan, right? I've been doing this a long time, but I still literally talk to myself about this stuff. So look, we did bounce off the 200-day moving average. That is good. Is it enough for me to take a trade? I like Microsoft a lot better, honestly. I mean, the 200-day here does at least give you a very defined area of resistance. Let's go up, see where the 30 RSI is. Maybe just a smidge under there. So look, here's the 30 RSI above us. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to act as resistance above, but we have to consider it, right? And then here's our stop down here. It's about a 1-to-1. So I think I still like Microsoft better. Ah, jeez. Look at silver, everybody. You know, Andrea, if you're listening, in our last lesson, we were talking about crossover trades, and one of the allowable reasons to get out of a crossover trade is if you have a big bearish reversal. Well, look, Steve Burns took this 520 EMA crossover here on silver, right? I think it was on AGQ, but I had to bypass it because it was over the second ATR channel, and the market didn't care. It went up, it went up, it went up. And then Steve got out on this big reversal bar here, right? And thankfully he did. Look, the crossover happened today, I think. Oh no, it happened yesterday. My apologies. It happened yesterday. But imagine if you didn't take your cross under and get out today. I mean, it's down almost 6% today. Now look, it did go under 30, over 30. It's somewhat interesting. I did hear that there were quite a lot of margin calls, and people were buying their silver and gold to pay for their margin calls. Let's look at this on a weekly. Well, we came back down here into support. We bounced off the 250, did blow through the 200. We went well under 30, over 30. That's somewhat interesting to me. If I do take this today, only a half position because it's under the 200-day moving average. Okay, SPY. Well, we had the overnight SPY trade. Of course, I am going to be buying this again today. And then UNH. Well, again, we closed under the 200-day. We gapped lower. Now that 200-day is above us, it acted as resistance, and that's exactly what happened. Acted as resistance. We got right up to it, and no. So let me go through these. Apple, I'm going to take this off the list. Amazon, we can keep. Facebook off the list. IBB. I think I'm going to let that one go. Coca-Cola, going to let that one go. MasterCard, possible. Microsoft, very likely. Philip Morris, possible. PayPal, no. Q's, no. Silver, possible. SPY, I already have. UNH, no. So look, Amazon, look, I'm not going to buy Amazon and Microsoft at the same time, right? Correlation, right? Talked about it earlier. So I am going to let Amazon go. MasterCard looks okay. Let's look at the weekly again. Yeah, it rejected that. I do kind of like Microsoft. MasterCard. Philip Morris, I'm probably going to let that one go. So Microsoft looks, this would be a full position because it's over the 200-day. Silver, have to watch that. Now it's lost its 100-day moving average. I think I'm going to take, well, if we close back under that 200, I'm not going to take MasterCard. So looks like right now the most likely is going to be Microsoft. What do we have? 10 minutes? Hey, John, good to see you. John says, look for videos by Dr. Francis Boyle for information on not generally discussed. He wrote biological weapons for USUN. I watched an interview of him, John. Yes, that was quite interesting. I think he was on, can't remember now, Greg Hunter, I believe. That was quite interesting. Dr. Jorgensen, if you remember, that is the guy that I was telling you about over the phone. And listen, John, great call. John emailed me and said I wouldn't be taking the overnight SPY trade, and he was dead on right. And I didn't listen. I did listen, but I just want to follow the plan. That's the reason. But I do want to give John his due because he was definitely right on that. Spreads by hand-to-hand surface contact. Corona apparently can survive 5 to 7 days on surface. Like cold temp is why we see flu in cold months. Apparently the same with the virus. Glenn says fear and greed gauge is now below 10. Bounce looks like we'll have to wait until next week. Yeah, maybe so with the weekend coming up. Dr. Jorgensen, hand washing, no hand to mouth, best way to prevent. Zicam might help, not sure where the virus replicates. If it's in the nose, Zicam might help as it works by stopping replication in the nose. Frank says the market is held hostage by the virus. Jackson says, wow, you can just read the emotion. Sorry, I'm not keeping up here. Oh boy. You can just read the emotions in the charts. Yes, you're right. Thanks for all the great info, Dr. J. The Dow is down 1,000. 49 viewers today, new record. I show 50 on mine, but thank you, Steve. Appreciate you keeping track of that. Thank you. Jesse said indexes are trying hard to rally past few days, but are losing battle at the end of the day. Watching it happen again right now reinforces the rule to wait till the end of the day. Yes, sir, you're 100% correct. This has been a sell every rally kind of market. Steve says this plunge is putting buy and hold investors on tilt. Absolutely. I got out of the reversal bar also, Steve. Jesse, didn't imagine too often you see DM at 15 RSI. My gosh. Frank says, hopefully the poetry is drawing phones. It well could be, Frank. Andre says, wow, yeah, I have really remember about bearish reversals. Glenn says, Amazon will be sold on close below 200-day. Yep. Good. Glad to following your plan. I am very wary of holding over a particular weekend. I don't blame you. Andrea, the way I feel about bearish reversals is they can save your butt when things really go down. Sure, you're going to miss out on a little profit here and there, but they save a ton when the market, yes. Andrea says, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So yes, I want my butt saved. Always good to have your butt saved. Just in general, right? Okay. So I'm going to take another little gander through here. All right, I am going to take a position of MasterCard. Win, lose, or draw, right? Microsoft, I'm definitely going to take a position in, and it looks like silver, I am not. I don't know if this is true, but like I said, I read that gold and silver got hammered today because of margin selling. Look at gold. My gosh. If you would have told me that the market would be down 2,000 points in 2 days, over 2,000 points in 2 days, and gold would be down significantly, I would say, nah, I don't think so. I'd have been completely wrong. Look at this on gold. We literally bounced right at the 50-day moving average. Interesting. All right, how we doing on the Dow down meter? Okay, we have 5 minutes. Frank says, I'm haunted by the expression, man plans, God laughs. Yes, that is true. Glenn says, is peak Greg viewers equal 48 a sign that the market is reaching a bottom? Well, that's a pretty good indicator, the peak Greg indicator of 48. I've noticed that seems like we've had more people with the market going down more. So could be an indicator. Better put that on Trade Navigator and TrendSpider. Get that up there. Microsoft being bought into the close. Yeah, I mean, look, Microsoft has held up much better. And there's one thing about big down moves in the market, everyone. It shows you the strongest stocks. They stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, yeah, Microsoft got hammered, no doubt about it, but we're not under the 200-day. We're still above the 200-day. So the relative strength on Microsoft, and yes, it is being bought into the close. So that is a good sign. But let's look. Under 30, over 30, under the 100, over the 100, and a V1. Pretty good. Pretty dang good. My stop would probably be a close below the 100-day moving average. So it's a really good, well-defined setup here. I think I'm just going to pass on silver. I keep coming back to it, and I like MasterCard. I like MasterCard with this close above the 200. Anything above the 200 now is pretty good. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and buy Microsoft, because I might be right on the bubble with MasterCard, and I don't think I'm going to be with Microsoft. Who knows though, right? Okay. So I got filled at Microsoft at 160.60. Okay. And then I'm going to wait right till the end. Make sure I'm okay on SPY. Yeah. All right, MasterCard. Looks pretty good so far. We have a minute left. This should be telling. All right, I'm just going to buy this because I have two accounts I have to do this in. Okay. Let's see what MasterCard does in the last minute. Oh my Lord, look at that. Well, people bought into the close on this one, didn't they? I'm glad I got it a little early. I'm glad I got it a little early on that one. All right, so I got Microsoft at 160.60. It's at 162.13. Holy smokes. I made like $1 something on that already, didn't I? Wow. Fantastic. Look at this. I got it at 160.60. It's 162.13. So, geez, that was good. And then MasterCard, $288.15. Holy smokes. That made me positive on the day. Well, who would have known? Sometimes it goes your way, doesn't it? Okay. Wow, that hasn't happened for a long time. So yeah, MasterCard, let me make sure I have this right. 288.15. Yes. Microsoft 160.60. Fantastic. Holy smokes. Okay, what did silver? Oh, it did end up on, but that's all right. And then let's see where I got filled on SPY. 296.26. 296.26. All right, so I think that's a pretty good mix. Overnight SPY trade, MasterCard, which is a little financial, and Microsoft, which gives me some tech. So I think that's a good combination. All three full positions. So so for me, I have this 200 below me. I like how it's right the halfway mark of that bar. So close below 200, that would be my stop. Microsoft close below, let's see where the 30 would be. 30's all the way down there. I would rather pick the halfway of this washout bar. See how it dovetails pretty close to the 100. So my stop will be a close under the 100, and then of course this overnight SPY trade. Wow, there was a lot of buying into the close. MasterCard's up another $1.47 after hours. Wow. Oh, I spoke way too soon. Now it's down 25 cents, but it did say it. Apple's up $1.14 after hours. Microsoft. I have too many stocks. Yeah, now MasterCard's up $1.47. Anyway, fantastic. Hey, good for you, Glenn. Amazon is holding. All right, let me get back up here. Jackson says, Glenn, a contrarian indicator, people will be using the Gossettron to predict the future moves. That'd be funny. Kamal says, MA being bought on close. Yes. Glenn says, NVIDIA and Google are holding up well. Oh, sorry, I didn't have time to get to NVIDIA. Ooh. Well, listen, that's a pretty serious breakdown right there, right? I mean, let's break it down. V1, bullish engulfing bar, under 50, over 50, rejection of the 50-day moving average. Quite a few indicators there, a lot of volume. Kamal says Amazon over 200. Yes, I didn't take Amazon because I'm not, correlation-wise, I'm not going to take Amazon and Microsoft. Alibaba had a nice reversal off the 100. Yes, it did. didn't quite get under 30, but yes, and a V1, right? Day 1, day 2. Day 2 washes day 1, closes above. Rejection of the negative third ATR channel. Kamal says, bought Microsoft, MasterCard, Philip Morris, and Amazon. Oh, you did buy Philip Morris. Oh, yeah, look at that. Boy, that really came cranking in. I'm just going to guesstimate your price here, right here at the close. So we have Kamal there. We're going to add Kamal here as well. Okay. We're going to add Kamal here. Got him. Jesse says, looks like for the first time since 221, major indexes closed above their opens during the regular day. Oh, thank you, Jesse. Yep, it has a different feel to it, right? Kamal says, it all got bought into the close over the weekend. Wow. Steve Burns, did you buy anything today? Deanne, cat is up? Yes. V1. Not over the third ATR channel, but yeah, I mean, where did the indexes close? Dow down 357, NASDAQ up a smidge, 0.89, better than nothing for sure, right? Jackson, does anyone feel that buying into the close could be a chance for a second bounce soon? Not wanting to burst bubbles, but after such a dramatic, strong sell-off. Or a second downward move. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen, right? I mean, we can't predict the next 5 minutes. We can't predict what's going to happen over the weekend. Look, the Fed might come out over the weekend. There might be something. Or this rally at the end of the day, it's just been a trap and it's going to dump back down on Monday. You know, you never know. All you can do, position size correctly, you know, look for a good setup, identify your risk, identify where your stop is, take the setup, and that's all you can do. Zach said, did anyone mention Beyond Meat today? My. Look at that. That's pretty nasty. Down 15.55%. I know they had good earnings yesterday. They had good sales anyway, but the market didn't like it. Did it reject the 30 RSI? Didn't go under, bounced near it. Jesse says, people want real meat in these difficult times. Yep. And apparently cigarettes as well, Jess. It's a pretty good setup. It's a pretty good setup on Philip Morris. Now that I look at this, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have bought it, but it's okay. It's okay. But good luck, Kamal. Dan says, thumbs up, gang. So far, 19. Oh, yes. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Dan's my hype man. No, I do appreciate when everyone hits the thumbs up button. I really do. It helps. So listen, if anybody has any other questions, wants me to look at some stocks, I'm happy to do that. Just let me get my little quick plug out of the way. I just want to let everybody know that I do offer private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. They're one-on-one lessons. I offer a course. It's 5 sessions. Each session is somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, basically just depending on how much time you have that evening and when you want to go to bed, but I'm good for 3. But I've had really good success with my clients. I think what I teach is valuable. Everything I've learned as a full-time trader for the last 24, 25 years now. I teach you all the things I've learned from my coaches and mentors, like, great traders and authors that I've worked one-on-one with, like Stephen Burns, of course, Dr. Alexander Elder, Kerry Lavorne, Larry Williams, plus all the things that I've developed and over the years, and my insights to the market over the years. So if you'd like to take the course, I promise you, you're going to be happy with it. I promise you, you're going to walk away from this course knowing a lot more about trading, a pretty in-depth understanding than most likely what you do now. I mean, maybe you have a ton of understanding. I don't know, but I think for most people, I love to teach. I put a lot of effort into it. I explain during the first half of each session, what we're going to work on. I teach you it. I have you teach it back to me. I throw curveballs at you. We do a lot of chart study, break this chart down for me. What are the positives, minuses? Do we have a good risk to reward ratio? What's your next trade? Where are we getting in? Where are we getting out? So we do a lot of that, hours of that. And I really think it's the best way to learn how to trade. I mean, we can go through a year's worth of trading in, an hour, right? And it's about getting reps. So if you're interested in taking the course, I usually like to start with just a free Skype call. There's no obligation whatsoever. I promise you. I'm not going to try to get you to sign up, because really, I put a lot of effort into these classes, and I want it to really be someone that really wants to learn, really that's hungry to learn. I've had so many great clients that are just like that, and I just love it. So I do a Skype call. I just want to learn more about you, your trading, your challenges, improvements you think you can make, and I'll put together a lesson plan that encompasses everything that we talk about. Then of course you can ask me any questions, and if we decide to go forward, then great, you'll become my student, and we'll set up the calls, whether it's once a week, twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, just depending on your schedule and mine. So if you're interested in having that free Skype call with me, and again, there's no pressure, I promise you, I never pressure anyone, send me an email. You can send me an email. The email address is in the description of this video, and then you can also send me a message on Twitter if you'd like to set it up. And it's fun, right? Even if we just do the Skype call, it'll be fun to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. And then secondly, as Dan so nicely just mentioned, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button today, that's all I ask. If you find today's podcast helpful in any sense whatsoever, I would really appreciate if you hit the thumbs up button. That helps build the channel, lets Google know that there's, they can mark this as some valuable contact with the likes. So anyway, I really would appreciate that. So that is it. That is my plug, my last plug for the week. I promise you that. Andrea says, I noticed Beyond Meat drop. Yes. Kamal says, I went shopping today and I will honor my stop losses in case of adverse price action. That's all we can do, right, Kamal? That's all we can do. We can analyze the chart, say it's a good risk to reward ratio, shown that we've rejected prices below us, whether it's the RSIs we rejected, or whether it's the moving averages we rejected, or the previous day's low and reversal, like on a V1, V2. Enter the trade, be honest and say, I don't know what's going to happen here. Position size correctly, take the trade, like Mark Douglas says. You take the trade, you analyze the risk, you pull the handle on the slot machine, and something's going to happen. It's either going to go up or it's going to go down. And if it goes down, hopefully you can get out quickly. If it goes up, hopefully you have the courage to stay with it or have some type of approach to get out. But leave yourself some upside. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Anyone else tells you anything else, it's not true. Unless they're giving you some kind of illegal inside information. I'm telling you. Dr. Jorgensen says, good hike. Off on the bike for a quick ride. Talk to you tonight. Okay, sounds good, Bruce. Thanks for all your input today on the medicine side. Appreciate that. I'm sure everyone else says. Deanne says, I bought VXRT at 260. Well, let's take a look at this VXRT. Well, you're up a mere 9% already? Fantastic. Did you buy this today, Deanne? $260. Deanne. Selling off 1/2 to not hold over the weekend. Okay. Up 9.76% already. You bought that today. What's your plan for it, Deanne, on the way down? 10.26%. Okay. Well, I'm measuring with the little thing there, and so I'm a little off there. Jesse says, in words of Rudyard Kipling, if you can keep your head when all above you are losing theirs, that's true. Totally, totally true. The only way you can keep your head is have a process, have a trading plan, and take the trades. You know, the thing about trading is you'll get entries, and you won't want to take them. Every fiber in your body will scream, I don't want to take it. Well, if you have a legitimate entry, you have to take it. And then there's other times you'll have legitimate exits where you're screaming, I don't want to get out. But, you know, that's what you have to do. You have to get in when you don't want to, and you have to get out when you don't want to. Kamal says, did not diversify time this go around. Do you mean does that mean in the stocks you bought here today, Kamal, or different time frames? Deanne says, selling off 1/2 to not hold over weekend. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Jackson says, have a good weekend. Be safe. You too, buddy. You too. Hey, by the way, Jackson, Dr. Jorgensen is going to Australia, and I was telling him, I was like, look, if you are in Australia, we should hook you up with Jackson. It would be great for you guys to get together. I think you'd have a lot to talk about for sure. So I don't know if you're open to that, Jackson, but if you are, let me know. Dr. Jorgensen is going to be down there cruising around on his motorcycle. Mohammed says, Greg, remember my email about closing price thing? I am following it, and it happens with all stocks in Egypt. The closing price in the candle is different from the actual closing price. Yes. I remember that. And look, I'll give you an example on this right now. Hopefully this will be a decent example. If I look at the SPY, the price here is 296.26, and on my chart it's 296.16, and then after hours. So I really think what's happening is your broker is showing you the after hour price, because on SPY the after hour price is 297.19, and see how here on my chart it's 296.16. So I think that's what's happening. You know, I noticed on my SPY trade, it will show my entry. Oh, here's a perfect example. Mohammed. Do you see how I buy at the end of the day yesterday? Well, look, I bought here at 297.51. But if you look at the chart, because that was the closing price, but if you look at the chart, you see how the chart printed some more data after the market closed. It printed the after hour data. See the difference? I noticed this today. I was like, why is my entry up higher than here? Because this was that right after the market closes, that window where not the 2 o'clock close, not the actual market close, but the after hour close. So that's what's happening. I'm almost positive of it, Mohammed. On TradingView, yeah. So you see it confuses the moving averages. Yeah, I would call them if possible. If you can't get a hold of him, whatever, then it's not the end of the world. Just go off what you have on your charts. But if there's a setting, Mohammed, that will chart the actual close and nothing after, I think it would be better. Glenn said, "What's with gold?" I did mention gold earlier. I did read a report. I have no idea whether it's true or not, but I read that gold was selling off because people were getting margin calls in their stocks and they were having to sell it to pay for their margin calls. And I'll tell you one thing, being around the block about 100 times in this market, I can tell you whenever there is forced buying or selling for margin calls, if there's forced selling, you can look forward to probably things going up in the future. If there's forced buying on the top, like there was with Tesla and space, that's usually the top, because when you have a margin call and you can't come up with the extra money, the broker just sells it out from underneath you. They don't care. They don't care if they get you a better price. So I think that's what happened with gold here. Wow, MasterCard's up. Okay, well that doesn't really count. The spread's $1.98, but it does show up $1.76. Microsoft's up 82 points. SPY is up 77 points. Wow, this turned into a good profitable day. Mohammed says we do not have after hours. Mohammed, is it only based upon stocks in Egypt? Then is there not a period after, like a settling period, that might be happening from, Mohammed? I wish I could help you, Mohammed. I really do. I'm just not familiar with it, but I'm sure that's what's going on. Jackson says, totally agree, Jesse. Even further on that, even if my head is saying things, I refer to my rules. I keep them no matter what, as my head does a lot of strange chatter. Gold's down $59. Wow. Kamal, time equals greater than buying one or two positions a day over weeks to build up a portfolio. Time is greater or equal to buying one or two positions in a day over a week to build a portfolio. Okay, good. Makes sense. Buying. Jackson says, sure, I have my textbook of medical physiology next to me. Maybe the doc can explain it to me. I'm sure he could. Seriously, though, open to it. Love discussing health, fitness, and the human mind. Oh, Dr. Jorgensen is a great person to hang out with and discuss. He's a world traveler. I've been all over the world with Dr. Jorgensen. Glenn, market has 5 minutes to settle all trades, hence difference in closing market prices. Yes, thank you, Glenn. Yeah, so that's probably what's happening. But he's in Egypt with the Egypt market, so I don't know if that's the case, but it makes sense because yes, market has 5 minutes to settle all trades, so that's the difference in the closing prices and probably what you're seeing on the charts. Jackson says, I need rules. When I started trading, I made so many rules, even from Greg's mentorship, and I knew I was making a personal commitment to my rules. Mohammed says, I get the actual close with the 270-minute chart, the total time of our session. It seems the last few trades are averaged or dismissed or something. I just wonder, if your chart is charting like just one little trade, like if it's just one, or even if it was just one or two shares. I would call TradingView. I don't use TradingView. I don't know if they have a customer service, but I think they would be the best ones to answer that, Mohammed. I know that's a pain having to do that kind of stuff. I really do not enjoy doing that kind of stuff, but they're probably the ones that can give you the best answer. Mohammed says, I get the same confusing close price from TradingView and other local charting apps. Like I said before, though, if you can't fix it, just be consistent with what you have. Sometimes the chart might be off. You may not get in a trade that you normally would have, but then the trade will go against you and be glad you didn't. Other times you won't get in and it will go up and you wish you had, but they should even out. Glenn, this is common for all markets to settle. I worked at Reuters in London, and that's how European closing market are calculated. Kamal says, Jackson, what rules kept you out today? Yeah, that's a great question. What rules did keep you out today, Jackson? That's a great question. Jackson says, TradingView do have customer service for a pro plan, not sure which. You could bump it up just for a month to talk to their real-time support. Oh, there you go. There you go. Maybe you bump it up for a month and talk to them and figure it out, Mohammed. But yeah, Jackson, what were your rules today that kept you out of the market? Hey, Ramble Ron, good to see you. Google up after hours and ADM held up good today. Oh, let's look at ADM. Good to see you, Ramble. Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of the tech stocks, we saw major reversals today, right? I mean, we're seeing stock after stock with the gap down, reversal up, V1, rejection of the 100-day moving average, a lot of volume. Obviously, some buyers came in today, obviously, right? Obviously, there were sellers coming into the close yesterday. And we gapped down hard. Man, unbelievable. Mohammed says, I have a pro plan for 2 years. Oh, good. We'll call them then. Call them up. Oh, interesting. I just checked. Looks like Steve, I don't know if he's still there, but it looks like Steve did buy silver. Was one I was looking at, but I decided to pass on it. Looks like he did buy silver, probably the under 30, over 30, and he bought the Qs as well. So that's good to know. Let me just confirm that. Oh, and the SPY. So Steve bought the Qs, he bought silver, and the SPY. So three positions he bought and 3 positions I bought. Jackson says, basically, I only add a rule if it probabilistic shows me a better stat. My mouth's getting tired of speaking. Many don't. This one was due to the huge sell-off. The percentage of moves over the time period doesn't mean it's right. Ramble Ron says, have a good one, everyone. Have to go back to work. Thank you for stopping by, Ramble. It's always good to see you, buddy. Jackson says, but it has shown a small edge over historical data. Of course, this isn't with every stock, but I am quite mechanical in my approach. I don't use any discretion at all. Good. I actually think more people would be more profitable traders if they were mechanical, all in all. Just because it's just a plan, right? All right, everybody, listen, It's 2:30. I'm going to go for a little hike. There's some sun out there. Nice to have an up day here finally. And it should be an interesting week. So thank you for coming, everybody. I appreciate it. Please go out, do something nice for somebody today. Just a wave or a smile. Say hello. Just something. Could make a big difference in the rest of somebody's day and could improve their life. You just never know. It's free. It's easy to do. So why not do it? Right. And again, if you like today's podcast, if you don't mind, please hit the thumbs up button before you click on out of here. I would really appreciate that. So really nice seeing everyone. Great speaking with you. And Kamal, we need to schedule our final lesson, right? We need to schedule that up. We still have that one to go. So looking forward to that. Kamal says Costco is full today for stocking up. Yeah, I've read that. Especially in Hawaii. So Andrea, thank you. Thanks, Mohammed. Thanks, Zach. Andrew says at Kamal where? I believe it's in California. So, okay. I mentioned to be nice, do something nice for someone, hit the thumbs up button, and have a good weekend. Be safe. And we'll see you back on Monday, and we'll see whether things are red and green. It should be interesting. So, all right. Thanks again. Have a good weekend. Bye, everyone. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.